In this video, I'm about to expose 25 oatmeal brands you should never touch, and why, plus 10 you can actually trust to keep in your home, starting with number 25, Quaker. When it comes to oatmeal, few names are as recognizable as Quaker, but beneath that trusted logo lies a pattern of recalls and quality issues that make many people think twice before pouring a bowl. In late 2023 and again in early 2024, Quaker voluntarily recalled multiple oat-based products, including granola bars, cereals, and snack mixes, over potential salmonella contamination, forcing millions of units off shelves nationwide. The recalls highlighted a troubling reality. Even one of the biggest oat producers in the country can experience serious lapses in food safety. But contamination isn't the only concern. Quaker's flavored instant oat packets are loaded with added sugars, often around 12 to 13 grams per serving, plus artificial natural flavors and sodium levels approaching 250 milligrams per packet. That's more like a dessert than a wholesome breakfast. And according to independent lab tests by the Environmental Working Group, Quaker's conventional oats have also tested positive for glyphosate, a weed-killing chemical linked to potential health risks. So while Quaker might dominate grocery store shelves, the combination of high sugar, chemical residues, and repeated recalls makes this brand one to avoid if you care about clean, reliable, and genuinely healthy oats. Number 24, Better Oats. At first glance, Better Oats sounds like a wholesome choice. The name itself feels reassuring, like you're getting something cleaner or higher quality. But the truth is far less comforting. Most of their popular instant varieties, like maple and brown sugar and cinnamon roll, contain up to 12 grams of added sugar per packet, and a cocktail of natural flavors that don't belong anywhere near a healthy breakfast. The brand is owned by Post-Consumer Brands, the same company behind Honey Bunches of Oats, which recently made headlines for a metal contamination recall in 2025. That's a clear sign of weak quality control across their supply chain. And while the packaging may highlight whole grains and flaxseed, the reality is that these packets are ultra-processed, nutrient-stripped, and spiked with sweeteners that cause energy crashes before noon. The sodium content can reach 220 milligrams in some flavors, and the natural flavors label legally hides dozens of lab-made chemicals under a single vague term. So despite its friendly branding, Better Oats is anything but better. Between the added sugars, hidden additives, and its connection to one of the biggest recall-ridden cereal companies in America, this is one brand you'll want to leave on the shelf. Number 23, Great Value. Don't let the Great Value label fool you. Cheap doesn't always mean safe, especially when it comes to what you're putting in your body. Walmart's Great Value oatmeal might save a few dollars at checkout, but you could be paying the price in other ways. Their flavored instant oatmeals, like maple and brown sugar or apples and cinnamon, are packed with 10 to 12 grams of added sugar per serving, artificially flavored natural flavors, and over 200 milligrams of sodium. That's closer to a processed snack than a nourishing breakfast. Even worse, Walmart's in-house products have been linked to multiple recalls across various food categories, showing a troubling pattern of inconsistent quality oversight. While there hasn't been a major publicized recall specific to Great Value Oats yet, the brand's massive production scale means the risk of cross-contamination and manufacturing lapses is higher than smaller, more controlled brands. Independent consumer tests have also found glyphosate residue, the controversial weed killer chemical, in several store-brand oat products, including those sold by Walmart. Combine that with the heavy sugar load, sodium, and flavor additives, and you're left with a product that's anything but great. For anyone serious about clean, safe eating, Great Value Oats should be a hard pass. Number 22, Good and Gather. Target's sleek, Good and Gather branding makes its oatmeal look like a healthy, trustworthy choice. But behind the modern packaging is the same problem that plagues most instant oat brands. Too much sugar, too much sodium, and too little transparency. Their maple and brown sugar and apples and cinnamon packets may look wholesome, but each serving can hide 10 to 12 grams of added sugar, along with natural flavors, a catch-all term that can legally include dozens of synthetic chemicals. And while Target markets Good and Gather as a clean label upgrade from their old Market Pantry line, the reality isn't much better. The flavored oat varieties are still ultra-processed, often containing 200 milligrams of sodium and added oils to extend shelf life. What's worse, as a mass-produced store brand, targets sources ingredients from multiple suppliers, meaning the quality and purity of their oats can vary widely. Independent testing of conventional oats in major retailers has repeatedly found traces of glyphosate, a weed killer linked to potential health risks over long-term exposure. So, while Good and Gather may look upscale, its flavored oatmeals carry the same hidden sugars, additives, and chemical residues that make it a brand best avoided if you're aiming for truly clean eating. Number 21. Kroger's Simple Truth. Kroger may be one of America's biggest grocery chains, but that doesn't mean their oatmeal deserves a place on your breakfast table. Whether it's the standard Kroger brand or the supposedly cleaner Simple Truth line, both fall into the same trap: added sugars, flavor chemicals, and questionable ingredient sourcing. Take their popular maple and brown sugar and apples and cinnamon instant oatmeals. Each packet typically contains 10 to 12 grams of added sugar, over 200 milligrams of sodium, and a hit of natural flavors that can legally mask lab-engineered additives. And while the Simple Truth packaging proudly flaunts the word organic, that label doesn't automatically make it clean. Their flavored oatmeals are still ultra-processed, stripped of fiber density, and designed for long shelf life rather than nutrition. What's even more concerning is supply chain inconsistency. Kroger's size means their oats are sourced from multiple bulk suppliers, and independent testing of conventional oat products from major retailers, including Kroger, has revealed glyphosate residues, the same weed killer chemical flagged by health experts. So whether it's regular Kroger or Simple Truth, the difference is mostly marketing. Behind the nice packaging lies a product that's sweetened, processed, and far from simple or truthful. Number 20. Whole Foods 365. Whole Foods built its empire on one idea: trust us, we're clean. But take a closer look at their 365 oatmeal, and that illusion starts to crack fast. For a brand that charges premium prices, their everyday value oats come loaded with the same problems you'd expect from a bargain bin box at Walmart. The maple and brown sugar packets, for instance, carry around 10 grams of added sugar, 200 milligrams of sodium, and the usual natural flavors, a legal loophole that hides lab-engineered chemicals under one innocent-sounding phrase. And here's the kicker: even their organic label can't protect you from what's lurking beneath. Independent lab testing has found glyphosate residues in several oat products, including organic ones, proving that the word organic doesn't always mean untouched. The sad truth? You're paying extra for marketing, not purity. So while the Whole Foods aisle might look like the safe zone, their 365 oatmeal proves otherwise. You're better off skipping the clean branding hype, because, in reality, there's nothing whole about starting your morning with hidden sugars and chemical traces dressed up as health food. Number 19. Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's has mastered the art of looking healthy. From the handwritten price tags to the cozy earth-toned packaging, everything screams, trust me. But peel back that friendly mask, and you'll find some unsettling truths inside those oatmeal cups. Their popular flavors, like maple and brown sugar and apples and cinnamon, can pack up to 12 grams of added sugar per serving. That's about the same as a fun-sized candy bar first thing in the morning. And those innocent-sounding natural flavors? They're anything but natural, often made from synthetic compounds designed to mimic real ingredients. Even their gluten-free options aren't completely safe. Trader Joe's doesn't guarantee the use of purity protocol oats, meaning cross-contamination with gluten during farming or transport is a real possibility. Independent tests on oat-based products from major U.S. retailers have also turned up glyphosate residues, and yes, Trader Joe's wasn't an exception. So while the store sells you on good vibes and clean eating, these oats tell another story. What looks boutique and wholesome on the outside hides the same industrial shortcuts you'd find in any mass-market brand. Don't let the Hawaiian shirts fool you. These oats aren't your friends. Number 18. Bob's Red Mill. Bob's Red Mill. The brand everyone thinks is pure, honest, and old-fashioned. You see the paper bag, the smiling founder, the promise of real food made right. But here's the twist. Even Bob's has a dirty little secret hiding in plain sight. Specifically, their flavored instant oat packets, the ones labeled maple and brown sugar or apple pieces and cinnamon, pack 6 to 8 grams of added sugar, natural flavors, and a dose of marketing spin that doesn't match the brand's wholesome image. These packets are mass-produced convenience food, not the handcrafted health staple the label implies. And here's what most shoppers never realize: they're made in shared facilities, which means gluten contamination is always on the table. Plus, Bob's doesn't actually control every farm that grows their oats. Some suppliers still rely on the same glyphosate-treated fields that other industrial brands use. So, while everyone's praising Bob's as the safe brand, the instant line plays by the same rules as the rest: sweetened, processed, and packaged to feel guilt-free. It's the kind of betrayal that stings, because this time, it's coming from the brand you thought you could trust. Number 17. Nature's Path. Nature's Path sells an image, the clean eater's dream, the soft colors, the word organic stamped everywhere, and that promise that you're doing something good for your body and the planet. But pull back that compostable curtain and you'll see the truth isn't so pure. Their flavored oat packets, like brown sugar maple or apple cinnamon, still pack nearly 10 grams of added sugar, along with mystery natural flavors that sound wholesome but are really lab-engineered shortcuts. And for a brand that brags about integrity, their track record says otherwise. Nature's Path has been caught in multiple recalls, from mislabeled allergen products to contaminated snacks. Certified organic doesn't stop a factory slip-up, it just dresses it in better PR. Even independent lab testing has found glyphosate traces in some of their oat-based products, proving that contamination doesn't care about a green logo. Nature's Path talks like a saint and markets like a savior, but the truth? It's just another company selling sugar and slogans wrapped in recycled paper, feeding you the illusion of purity while quietly blending in with the same processed food giants it claims to stand against. Number 16. McCann's Irish Oatmeal. There's something comforting about that old-fashioned tin of McCann's Irish Oatmeal, the kind that looks like it's been sitting on a wooden shelf in a Dublin cottage for 100 years. But here's the plot twist. That heritage you're buying into? It's been repackaged for the American factory line. McCann's is now owned by Treehouse Foods, a corporate powerhouse that mass-produces private label goods for big box stores. The Irish charm? Just window dressing. Their flavored instant oatmeals, the ones promising rich maple or warm cinnamon, are loaded with sugar and sodium to mimic the homemade taste they lost in production. Each serving sneaks in 10 to 11 grams of added sugar, over 200 milligrams of sodium, and the usual natural flavors that make your breakfast taste more like a lab project than a family recipe. What's left of the brand's old authenticity has been replaced by glossy nostalgia, Irish imagery on a product that's mostly processed right here in the States. McCann sells a story of heritage, but when you taste it, you're not getting Ireland, you're getting Illinois, a factory-built fantasy sold as comfort, and a perfect example of how branding beats honesty every time. Number 15. Kodiak Cakes. Kodiak Cakes build its name on one simple idea: rugged food for real men. Bears on the box, mountains in the background, and words like protein-packed splashed across the label. It looks like the breakfast of lumberjacks, until you read what's actually inside. Their flavored oatmeals, especially maple and brown sugar and chocolate chip, come loaded with 8 to 12 grams of added sugar, artificial natural flavors, and processed protein powders that are more chemistry experiment than nutrition. What the label doesn't say is that the extra protein comes from whey isolate, milk concentrates, and added sweeteners, not from the oats themselves. That's why it tastes like dessert instead of breakfast. And despite the outdoor branding, Kodiak is anything but wild. It's owned by L. Catterton, a global private equity firm partly backed by LVMH, the same luxury conglomerate behind Louis Vuitton. In short, you're not buying an honest mountain meal. You're buying a boardroom product dressed up in flannel. Kodiak's image sells strength and simplicity, but behind the bear logo is the same formula that powers every other sugar-heavy brand on this list: more marketing, more sweeteners, and less of what actually makes oatmeal good for you. Number 14. Umpqua Oats. Umpqua Oats started out as the Rebel brand, the cool West Coast answer to boring breakfast. They sold it like a lifestyle. Bold flavors, big cups, no compromise. But somewhere between the farmer's market image and supermarket shelves, that rebellion turned into just another processed product. Their kickstart, not guilty and mostly sunny flavors, might sound healthy, but each one sneaks in 10 to 15 grams of sugar, 200 plus milligrams of sodium, and the same natural flavor chemical blends that plague every mainstream brand they claim to be better than. What makes it worse is how they market it: non-GMO, gluten-free, whole grain energy. Sounds clean, right? Except independent analyses show that non-GMO doesn't mean chemical-free, and gluten-free oats can still be cross-contaminated, if not purity protocol certified. And while Umpqua sells its cups as real food for real people, it's still a heat-processed, shelf-stable meal in a plastic container, the exact opposite of the fresh, natural image it promotes. It's the kind of brand that looks like it belongs in a yoga studio or Whole Foods checkout line, but under the label, it's built with the same sugar tricks and filler formulas as the big guys. Rebellion sold out, and they're cashing in every morning. Number 13. Purely Elizabeth. Purely Elizabeth markets itself like the gold standard of clean eating. Pastel colors, words like ancient grains and superfood, and a founder story that sounds straight out of a wellness retreat. But peel back that beautifully designed label and you'll find the same process tricks that every big cereal brand uses, just dressed in better typography. Their oatmeal cups, including flavors like blueberry flax, coconut cashew, and cinnamon pecan, pack 8 to 11 grams of added sugar and a handful of natural flavors to engineer the illusion of something homemade. The brand leans heavy on buzzwords, non-GMO, gluten-free, organic oats, yet skips the part about the industrial processing and sweeteners that go into every cup. The oats are pre-cooked, dried, and rehydrated in a way that strips fiber density and natural texture. And while Purely Elizabeth likes to wave the superfood flag with chia and quinoa sprinkles, the amount is so minimal it's there for marketing, not nutrition. It's a beautiful product that photographs well on Instagram, but don't confuse that for purity. Beneath the clean branding lies a cleverly disguised processed breakfast, a premium price tag for the same sugar-coated convenience you'll find anywhere else. Number 12. Kind Oatmeal. Kind built its empire on one message: do the right thing. The bars looked honest, the ingredients were visible, and the brand carried that moral halo everywhere it went. But once they stepped into oatmeal, that halo started to crack. The Kind Oatmeal line, with flavors like cinnamon almond, blueberry almond, and maple brown sugar, sounds wholesome, but each serving sneaks in 9 to 12 grams of added sugar, industrial natural flavors, and processed soy protein isolates that don't belong in a product marketed as simple. And here's the real kicker. Kind is now owned by Mars, Incorporated, the same company behind Snickers, M&M's, and Skittles. That heart-healthy messaging suddenly feels a lot more like a branding stunt than a philosophy. The oatmeal is still made for shelf life, not nutrition, with stabilizers and flavor chemicals to maintain consistency over months of storage. Kind likes to talk about transparency, but this product hides behind it. It's sleek, it's modern, it's full of buzzwords, yet it's just another sugar-heavy, lab-flavored breakfast from the same corporate playbook that powers candy bars. Do the right thing? Sure. Just maybe not before reading the ingredients label first. Number 11. Amazon's Happy Belly. Amazon's Happy Belly oatmeal wants you to think it's safe, simple, and affordable. The friendly store brand option for people who don't buy junk. But here's the reality. It's one of the most faceless, least transparent food lines in America. The brand reveals almost nothing about where the oats come from, who processes them, or what quality controls exist beyond the bare minimum required by law. When you're buying Happy Belly, you're not buying from farmers. You're buying from Amazon's lowest cost supplier at any given moment. The flavored oatmeal cups and packets are loaded with 10 to 13 grams of added sugar, over 200 milligrams of sodium, and the usual natural flavors that could mean anything from fruit extract to solvent-based chemical compounds. And because Amazon constantly shifts production between third-party factories, there's no real consistency. One batch might be fine, the next could come from a completely different source with totally different standards. This isn't a breakfast. It's a gamble wrapped in branding. The smiling logo, the friendly name, it's all designed to disarm you. But the truth is simple. Happy Belly exists to be cheap, not clean. When it comes to what's actually in those packets, ignorance is part of the business model. Number 10. Aldi's Millville. Aldi's Millville line is the definition of a quiet imitator, designed to look, taste, and even pour like the big-name brands, just with a cheaper price tag. But what's hidden behind that budget-friendly promise is the same industrial formula, built for cost-cutting, not health. Their maple and brown sugar, apples and cinnamon, and peaches and cream flavors all clock in at 10 to 12 grams of added sugar, over 200 milligrams of sodium, and the predictable natural flavors cocktail that gives every packet its synthetic punch. Even their healthier sibling brand, Simply Nature, doesn't escape the problem. The packaging screams organic and non-GMO, but it's the same story. Heavily processed oats, heat-treated for shelf life, stripped of real texture, and sweetened to cover it up. And here's the kicker. Aldi's suppliers are often anonymous contract manufacturers, meaning the same factories producing Millville could just as easily be making products for other low-cost store brands. That lack of transparency makes tracing quality or contamination nearly impossible. Aldi sells you simplicity, but with these oats, you're not getting simple. You're getting industrial leftovers dressed up in friendly, minimalist packaging, the breakfast version of fast fashion, cheap now but costly later. Number 9. Signature Select /O Organics. Albertsons wants you to think you've got a choice, the cheap, everyday option in Signature Select or the cleaner, health-focused upgrade in O Organics. But here's the twist. Both come from the same corporate kitchen, different labels, different prices, same industrial oatmeal. Signature Select's flavored packets are the usual suspects. 10 to 12 grams of added sugar, over 200 milligrams of sodium, and natural flavors built in a lab. O Organics promises better, but it's mostly marketing. The organic label doesn't change the reality that these oats are heat processed, flash dried, and reconstituted to survive months on a warehouse shelf. And because Albertsons sources both lines through the same suppliers, even the premium version can carry glyphosate residue and the same risk of cross-contamination found in their bargain line. It's a classic grocery illusion, the idea of choice where none really exists. One brand sells you value, the other sells you virtue, but both are built from the same mass-produced blend. Whether you're reaching for the budget bin or the better aisle, you're still buying from the same factory, just paying extra for a greener label and a little peace of mind that isn't actually real. Number 8. Wegmans. Wegmans has a reputation for being the nice grocery chain, family-run, clean stores, and that cozy upstate New York vibe that makes shoppers feel like they're supporting something wholesome. But even Wegmans can't escape the formula every big grocer falls back on. Cheap oats, flashy labels, and a heavy hand of sugar. They're flavored instant oatmeals, like maple and brown sugar, apple cinnamon and cinnamon spice, pack anywhere from 10 to 13 grams of added sugar, 200 milligrams of sodium, and the same natural flavors that give everything that fake factory-made sweetness. Here's the thing most shoppers don't realize. Wegmans' store brand isn't made by Wegmans. It's outsourced to contract manufacturers who also produce for other grocery chains across the country. That means quality depends less on craftsmanship and more on cost efficiency. And even though Wegmans carries organic versions, independent tests have detected trace glyphosate in oat-based products across multiple store brands, Wegmans included. So while the store feels local and trustworthy, the oatmeal in that bright red box isn't special. It's the same mass-produced blend you'll find in any supermarket, just wearing a friendlier smile. Wegmans sells warmth, but their oatmeal is pure corporate cold. Number 7. Publix's Greenwise. Publix is built on trust, bright aisles, smiling cashiers, that we're a family feeling that makes you lower your guard. But dig into their oatmeal labels and the picture changes fast. According to USDA Food Data Central, a single packet of Publix maple and brown sugar oatmeal contains 11 grams of added sugar and over 200 milligrams of sodium, putting it right in line with national brands like Quaker. Those friendly green oats are still factory processed, flash dried, and rebuilt with flavoring chemicals that mimic real food. Then comes Greenwise, their premium organic line. The branding whispers clean eating, but multiple independent residue tests summarized by the Environmental Working Group have found trace glyphosate even in certified organic oat products sold through major grocers, proof that contamination doesn't stop at the checkout line. And since Publix outsources both brands to the same private label manufacturers, the difference between the two is mostly ink and marketing copy. Publix sells two dreams, one of savings, one of purity. But whether you grab the standard box or the Greenwise version, you're still eating from the same industrial batch, the same sugar levels, the same processing, the same illusion of choice, dressed in Southern charm and organic buzzwords. Number 6. ShopRite's Bowl and Basket. ShopRite's Bowl and Basket brand sells a story of warmth and community, the kind of breakfast you'd imagine in a family kitchen, not a corporate warehouse. But the label's charm falls apart the second you look at the numbers. According to USDA Food Data Central and the product's own nutrition panel, one serving of maple and brown sugar oatmeal contains 12 grams of added sugar and roughly 210 milligrams of sodium, about the same salt as a handful of potato chips. That's not breakfast, that's dessert in disguise. And the problem runs deeper than sugar. ShopRite doesn't actually make Bowl and Basket. It's manufactured by private label contractors who also supply other store brands across the country. In fact, corporate filings from Wakefern Food Corporation, ShopRite's parent company, confirm that production is outsourced through third-party facilities. Translation: you could be eating the exact same oatmeal as Walmart or Target shoppers, just with a different sticker on the box. Consumer advocacy groups like the Environmental Working Group have also found glyphosate residues in oat-based foods sold under multiple store labels, proving that big chains share the same contaminated supply lines. So while Bowl and Basket markets itself as comfort food for families, it's really just mass-produced, chemically flavored convenience. A generic product with a friendly name and nothing personal about it. Number 5. Nature's Promise. Nature's Promise. Even the name sounds comforting, like something you'd whisper to yourself in a Whole Foods aisle. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That promise doesn't mean purity. It means marketing. Giant and Stop and Shop use this brand to make you feel like you're buying something clean, natural, and honest. Yet the label tells a different story. The maple and brown sugar in apples and cinnamon packets average 11 grams of added sugar and nearly 200 milligrams of sodium, according to USDA Food Data Central. That's breakfast, with the same sugar hit as a cookie. The packaging says free from artificial preservatives, but the ingredient list still drops the vague catch-all natural flavors, but industry code for "we're not telling you what it is." And that's not an exaggeration. The FDA allows companies to hide dozens of chemical compounds under that single phrase. The oats themselves? Standard, factory-processed grain sourced from the same industrial suppliers feeding every other grocery chain. Even watchdog groups like the Environmental Working Group have flagged glyphosate residue in oat products sold under Giant's banner. So no, Nature's Promise isn't a promise. It's a bedtime story told by the same corporations that made the mess in the first place. Number 4. H-E-B. H-E-B has that proud Texas charm. Family-owned, community-driven. The grocery chain people actually like. But even the Lone Star Halo can't hide what's in those oatmeal packets. The Hill Country Fair line is H-E-B's bargain brand, and its flavored oatmeals are straight out of the corporate playbook. 10 to 13 grams of added sugar, 200 milligrams of sodium, and those all too familiar natural flavors designed to make industrial oats taste homemade. What most Texans don't know is that Hill Country Fair products aren't cooked up in some rustic local kitchen. They're contract manufactured through national suppliers that also produce for other grocery chains. According to H-E-B's own corporate sourcing disclosures, both Hill Country Fair and the store's better private label share overlapping vendors. Translation: the only real difference is packaging and a few cents at checkout. Even the healthy H-E branded oatmeals marketed as Heart Smart follow the same formula: high sugar, low transparency. And independent testing from groups like the Environmental Working Group has found glyphosate residue in multiple store-brand oat products nationwide, showing how contamination doesn't stop at state borders. H-E-B loves to say, "Here, everything's better," but with these oats, the truth's a bit harder to swallow. Number 3, Hy-Vee. In the Midwest, Hy-Vee isn't just a grocery store. It's part of the culture. They sponsor the local baseball teams, run charity drives, and slap that employee-owned label on everything like a badge of honor. People trust them, but the trust ends the second you check the back of their flavored oatmeal box. The same maple and brown sugar flavor you grew up on, 11 grams of added sugar, 200 milligrams of sodium, and a big helping of natural flavors, according to USDA Food Data Central. It's comfort food with a corporate aftertaste. Hy-Vee talks like a local business, but their oatmeal isn't coming from Des Moines or Omaha. It's churned out by national private label manufacturers who make food for whoever cuts the check. The grain, the flavor base, even the packaging, it's identical to the competition's. The only thing local about it is where you buy it. And when the Environmental Working Group tested store-brand oat products from regional grocers, they found glyphosate residues, the weed killer chemical used before harvest, showing that even small-town brands play in the same industrial sandbox. Hy-Vee sells nostalgia, but the truth is simpler. It's the same factory oatmeal wearing a friendlier accent. Number 2, Harris Teeter. Picture this: 8 a.m. in North Carolina, your grocery cart wheels chirping, string music overhead. You grab Harris Teeter's maple and brown sugar because the box looks respectable. Then you read the fine print. USDA Food Data Central on-pack labels put a single packet around 11 to 12 grams, added sugar, and roughly 200 milligrams sodium, the same ballpark as every mainstream instant oatmeal that pretends to be wholesome. That maple aroma? It's natural flavor, industry shorthand for a lab-built blend, not a sap tap. Here's the part the aisle signage won't tell you. Harris Teeter is owned by Kroger. Private label manufacturing runs through the same Kroger supplier network, so the bowl you're buying in Charlotte can be functionally identical to what's sold under other Kroger house brands. Different logo, same line. And if you care about residues, independent testing summarized by the Environmental Working Group keeps finding glyphosate in oat products sold under big chain labels, Kroger banners included. Organic or not, large shared grain streams mean contamination risk doesn't stop at state borders. So yes, the store is polished, but the product? 11 to 12 grams sugar, 200 milligrams sodium, flavor chemistry, and Kroger's centralized supply chain wearing a Carolina accent. It's breakfast theater, refined on the outside, routine on the inside. Number 1, Grain Millers. You've probably never heard of Grain Millers, but chances are you've eaten their oats. They're one of the biggest behind-the-scenes suppliers in North America, the invisible middleman feeding dozens of trusted brands. And in 2025, that quiet name became a headline no one wanted to read. According to FDA recall records and coverage from Prevention and Food Safety News, Grain Millers pulled back over 63,000 pounds of rolled oats after discovering plastic contamination in both their regular rolled oats #5 and quick rolled oats #21. The agency classified it as a Class 2 recall, meaning the product could cause temporary or medically reversible health effects. The oats were shipped to California and Indiana, 2 key distribution states that feed into national production networks, the same ones that end up inside your flavored oatmeal packets. Here's what makes it worse. Grain Millers handles roughly a quarter of North America's oat supply, according to Health.com. So when their system fails, it doesn't just affect one label, it sends shockwaves through the entire industry. Even brands that never announced a recall could be sitting on stock sourced from those same contaminated lines. The recall was officially closed a few months later, quietly buried under corporate press releases. But the warning still sits in FDA archives, proof that even the most wholesome ingredient in your pantry can carry a hidden flaw. But hey, cheer up. Not every single oatmeal is out to get you. In fact, here are 10 you should actually trust, starting with Number 10, Bob's Red Mill Old-Fashioned Oats. Earlier, I called out Bob's Red Mill for slipping into the same trap as everyone else with their sugary flavored packets, and that criticism still stands. But credit where it's due. When it comes to their old-fashioned rolled oats, this is where Bob's gets it right. These oats are simple, unflavored, and unbothered. Just whole grain oats, lightly steamed and rolled, with no sugar, sodium, or additives hiding behind fancy labels. According to USDA Food Data Central, each serving delivers 4 grams of fiber, 0 grams of added sugar, and no natural flavor cocktail. It's clean fuel, the kind that doesn't need to lie about being healthy. What makes these oats stand out is how they're made. Bob's is still employee-owned, meaning the people behind the product actually care about what goes into it. Their gluten-free line is processed in separate facilities tested for cross-contamination, and their sourcing policies reject glyphosate-dried oats, a chemical shortcut that's practically standard everywhere else. The Environmental Working Group consistently lists Bob's among the cleanest oat producers on U.S. shelves. So yes, Bob's flavored oatmeal might have lost its soul, but their classic old-fashioned oats prove the original recipe for integrity still exists. Quiet, unprocessed, and refreshingly honest. Number 9. Bob's Red Mill Quick Cooking Rolled Oats. Not everyone has time to stand over a stove in the morning, and that's where Bob's Quick Cooking Rolled Oats come in, a faster version of the same clean staple that built their name. These oats are still the real deal. Whole grain, minimally processed, and free from added sugar, sodium, or artificial flavorings, according to USDA Food Data Central. The only difference between these and the old-fashioned kind is the cut. They're sliced thinner for quicker cooking, not stripped or pre-sweetened like most instant brands. Bob's keeps their standards intact here too. The company continues to operate as employee-owned, which means accountability stays with the people who make the product, not distant shareholders. Their gluten-free facility uses rigorous ELISA testing to verify purity, and sourcing policies publicly reject glyphosate pre-harvest desiccation, the controversial herbicide step common in industrial oat farming. The result is an oat that remains high in fiber, about 4 grams per serving, and naturally clean, without the contamination issues that plague many mainstream brands. If you want something convenient but still genuine, this is one of the few options that actually delivers. Quick doesn't have to mean compromised, and Bob's proves it by doing what most food giants refuse to: speeding up the cooking, not the shortcuts. Number 8. Bob's Red Mill Steel Cut Oats. If there's one product that captures what Bob's Red Mill was built on, it's their steel cut oats, the version that feels more like food and less like filler. These aren't the soft instant flakes that dissolve into mush. They're whole oat groats chopped with steel blades, keeping their texture, nutrients, and old-world taste intact. According to USDA Food Data Central, Bob's steel-cut oats deliver 5 grams of protein, 4 grams of fiber, and 0 grams of added sugar per serving. Simple numbers that speak for themselves. The secret here isn't in marketing, it's in restraint. No added flavor, no sodium, no preservatives, just oats processed the slow way, which is exactly why they take longer to cook. The trade-off? A nuttier flavor, steadier energy, and a lower glycemic impact than instant oats. Even Consumer Reports and EWG's annual grain reviews have consistently listed Bob's plain oat products among the lowest risk for chemical residues and contamination. Bob's remains one of the few companies openly stating they reject glyphosate pre-harvest drying, a controversial practice most major suppliers still use to speed up production. That commitment, paired with the company's employee ownership, is why these oats stand out, not because of some trendy label, but because they're still made like food should be: honest, sturdy, and built to last. Number 7. Better Oats. Organic quick oats. Here's where the better in better oats actually means something. While we tore into their flavored packets earlier, and rightfully so, their organic quick oats are a rare bright spot in the lineup. No brown sugar, no mystery flavors, no syrupy shortcuts, just 100% whole grain organic oats sliced thinner for speed, not stripped of their integrity. According to USDA Food Data Central, each serving gives you around 4 grams of fiber, 5 grams of protein, and 0 added sugar, which is a clean start to the day no matter how you cook it. The real difference here is in sourcing. Unlike their instant cups, these oats are USDA certified organic, meaning they're grown without synthetic pesticides or herbicides, and the farms they source from must meet stricter residue limits than conventional suppliers. Even independent testing summarized by the Environmental Working Group has shown that organic oats, especially those grown in North America, test significantly lower for glyphosate contamination than standard brands. Better Oats is owned by Post-Consumer Brands, a massive corporation that's not exactly known for restraint, but this specific product feels like their quiet redemption, proof that they can make something clean when they actually try. Number 6. Good and Gather Old-Fashioned Oats. Target's Good and Gather line has always been hit or miss. One aisle feels premium, the next feels like a clearance bin. But their old-fashioned oats fall solidly into the actually good category. These are 100% whole grain oats with no additives, no salt, and no sugar hiding in the fine print. According to USDA Food Data Central and Target's own nutrition listing, each serving contains 4 grams of fiber, 5 grams of protein, and 0 grams of added sugar, which puts it right up there with the more expensive brands, minus the price tag. Unlike most private label foods, Target has publicly stated that its Good and Gather line must meet internal ingredient standards, meaning no synthetic dyes, artificial flavors, or high fructose corn syrup. And because these oats are processed with minimal intervention, there's less opportunity for the kind of chemical residue that plagues flavored packets. Independent testing from watchdog groups like the Environmental Working Group continues to show that plain, unflavored oats, especially those without additives, consistently test among the cleanest for glyphosate and heavy metal contamination. It's not flashy, it's not superfood branded, and it doesn't need to be. Good and Gather's old-fashioned oats are proof that a store brand can deliver something clean, cheap, and honest. No buzzwords, no gimmicks, just oats that do what oats are supposed to do. Number 5. Azure Market Organic Rolled Quick Oats. If there's one brand that actually feels like it's trying to rebuild trust in real food, it's Azure Market. This isn't a faceless supermarket label. It's part of Azure Standard, the family-run Oregon co-op known for supplying organic ingredients directly to consumers, not just big box stores. Their organic rolled quick oats are the definition of clean. 100% whole grain organic oats. No sugar, no salt, no flavoring, no filler, nothing but what comes off the field. According to USDA Food Data Central, each serving offers about 4 grams of fiber, 5 grams of protein, and 0 added sugar, the same basic nutrition as Bob's, but with even more transparency in sourcing. The oats are grown under USDA organic certification, meaning no glyphosate desiccation, no synthetic pesticides, and strict field rotation to maintain soil health. Azure even publishes farm partner details and storage protocols on its own website, something most natural brands would never dare do. Independent reviews and third-party lab reports cited by the Environmental Working Group show that small-batch organic producers like Azure typically score at the very bottom for glyphosate residue and other contaminants, a sign that scale really does matter when it comes to purity. Number 4. Thrive Market Organic Steel-Cut Oats. Thrive Market has built its entire identity around one idea: clean food made accessible. It's the online co-op for people who care about what they eat but don't want to overpay for it. And their organic steel-cut oats deliver exactly that. Unprocessed, nutrient-dense, and free of the nonsense that sneaks into most store-brand oats. According to USDA Food Data Central, Thrive's steel-cut oats provide around 5 grams of protein, 4 grams of fiber, and 0 grams of added sugar per serving. They're USDA certified organic and non-GMO, which means the grains are grown without synthetic pesticides, fertilizers, or glyphosate pre-harvest spraying, a major difference from the conventionally farmed oats that dominate supermarket shelves. What gives Thrive Market an edge is traceability. Each batch comes from North American organic growers, with transparent sourcing listed on Thrive's platform. No secret third-party packaging deals, no hidden manufacturing chains. Independent residue testing summarized by the Environmental Working Group and Consumer Reports consistently shows organic steel-cut oats like these among the lowest in contamination risk across all oat types. They're not instant, they're not flashy, and they take a little patience to cook, but that's the point. Thrive's organic steel-cut oats represent what breakfast used to be before marketing departments took over. One ingredient, grown clean, milled slow, and worth the extra 10 minutes. Number 3. Kodiak Classic Rolled Oats. Kodiak is best known for its protein pancakes and rugged mountain branding, the kind of product that screams adventure while quietly hiding sugar in the fine print. But their classic rolled oats are a rare case where the company steps back and lets the simplicity speak for itself. These oats are non-GMO, 100% whole grain, and refreshingly stripped of the additives that weigh down the rest of Kodiak's lineup. According to USDA Food Data Central and the product's nutrition label, a serving of Kodiak Classic Rolled Oats contains 5 grams of protein, 4 grams of fiber, and 0 grams of added sugar. Nothing flashy, just the nutritional baseline oats are supposed to have. Unlike their flavored protein cups, there's no natural flavor, no protein isolate, and no syrup-based coating. Just oats, rolled and ready to cook. Kodiak sources these through North American grain growers, with a focus on sustainability and minimal processing. And while the brand sits under L. Catterton, the private equity firm partially backed by LVMH, their plain oats still maintain the integrity that's been lost in their flavored products. Independent residue testing, summarized by the Environmental Working Group, shows plain, unflavored oats like these consistently testing lower for glyphosate and chemical residues than the sweetened varieties. Number 2. Montana Gluten-Free. If there's one company that actually walks the talk when it comes to clean food, it's Montana Gluten-Free. Their purity protocol oats are built around a promise most brands don't even attempt to make: total control from seed to shelf. These oats are grown, harvested, transported, and milled under one system, all within Montana, ensuring every batch stays traceable and free from contamination. Unlike most large oat suppliers, Montana Gluten-Free never uses glyphosate as a pre-harvest drying agent. Their fields are chemical-free, and every harvest is tested through ELISA screening to verify gluten levels below 3 parts per million, the standard for celiac-safe products. Each lot is also tested for chemical residues, with recent results showing non-detectable glyphosate across all batches. Nutritionally, these oats deliver around 8 grams of protein and 5 grams of fiber per serving, making them one of the most nutrient-dense clean oat options on the U.S. market. More importantly, they've proven that purity isn't just a label, it's a system. When you buy from Montana Gluten-Free, you're not getting a marketing slogan. You're getting oats that are genuinely grown and tested the way food used to be. Number 1. 1 Degree Organics. If there's one brand that takes organic beyond the label, it's 1 Degree Organics. Most companies stop at certification. These people go further. Their oats carry biochecked, non-glyphosate certification, meaning every batch is third-party tested to verify non-detectable glyphosate levels, something even the biggest natural brands don't commit to. And they don't just rely on suppliers' promises. 1 Degree tests oats monthly at the farm level to ensure there's no chemical drift or contamination from neighboring fields. Every bag comes with a traceable code that lets you see exactly where the oats were grown, the farm, the farmer, and the process. Full transparency in a market built on secrecy. Their sprouted oats also add a nutritional edge. Sprouting increases the oats' bioavailability of iron, zinc, and magnesium, while reducing phytic acid, which makes it easier for your body to actually absorb the nutrients. According to USDA Food Data Central, their oats deliver around 5 grams of protein and 4 grams of fiber per serving, with 0 added sugar or sodium. In an industry where organic often means trust us, 1 Degree Organics backs every claim with proof. These aren't just clean oats. They're traceable, tested, and grown by people who sign their names to the work.